Hello, my dear listener. Settle in comfortably. Breathe slowly and deeply. Feel your body becoming soft and relaxed, sinking into warmth and tranquility. Today, we're journeying back to a distant past. 1,000 years ago. Imagine we can peer through the veil of time, like looking through a light morning mist. We'll follow the life of a very special lady, whose name history gently whispers, Judith. Sometimes she was called Jutta, or even Jutta of Schweinfurt. It sounds so ancient and beautiful, doesn't it? She lived in the 11th century, a time when castles stood strong on hills and forests were full of secrets. Life was very different then, but feelings, they remain the same, like the quiet rustle of leaves in the breeze. And now, just listen. Let my voice guide you through time, softly and gently, like a small boat gliding on still water. Imagine the lands of Bavaria, what we now call Germany. There, among the green hills and mighty forests, stood the castle of Schweinfurt. It wasn't just a dwelling, it was the home of her father, Henry of Schweinfurt, Margrave of Nordgau. A Margrave was an important man who protected the borders of the lands, and his family was noble and respected. Little Judith was born around the year, picture her, tiny and swaddled, within the cool yet cozy stone walls of the castle. What do you imagine she was like? Perhaps she had curious eyes that absorbed every ray of light, every rustle. Her early childhood passed amidst the sounds of the castle. In the morning, there was the distant clang of the blacksmith hammering horseshoes. Imagine that rhythmic, soothing sound, clang, 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 clang. Or maybe she heard the laughter of the serving maids preparing food in the great kitchen, or the creak of wooden carts bringing in supplies. Try to imagine the sense within an old castle, the smell of wood, a little smoke from the hearth, fresh bread from the bakery. Perhaps, in spring, there was the scent of the first flowers pushing through the earth near the castle walls. Imagine the feeling of the cool stone beneath her small hands, or the warmth of a woven blanket on a chilly evening. The castle had its own rhythm, a slow, steady heartbeat of daily life. Judith, like all noble children of that era, learned, but not in a school like yours today. She learned what a future lady needed to know: how to embroider delicate patterns on fabric, listen to stories of ancestors, and of course, to pray. Picture her sitting by a large window, soft sunlight falling on her small hands as she carefully stitched a rose onto a piece of linen. Outside the window, fluffy clouds drifted by, and distant birds sang their quiet songs. Perhaps she saw a tiny spider spinning its intricate web in the corner of the window frame, a slow and patient craft. Feel how your own breathing becomes as even and calm as her quiet pursuits. Inhale, exhale, let every thought that keeps you from relaxing float away like a light feather caught by a warm breeze. Deeper and deeper, your body settles. When Judith was a little older, she was sent to a monastery. Imagine this place, the Peter Stern Monastery, right there in Schweinfurt. It was a tranquil, secluded spot, surrounded by gardens and tall stone walls. Here, there was none of the bustle of the castle courtyard, only peace and order. What do you think Judith did in the monastery? Here, she continued her education. She learned to read, which was a true treasure at that time. Picture her bending over ancient manuscripts, written in beautiful flowing letters. Perhaps she traced her finger along the parchment, slowly deciphering the words. Imagine the scent of old paper and ink, a subtle, earthy smell that filled the quiet libraries. And of course, she studied psalms. These were beautiful ancient songs that the monks and nuns sang every day. Imagine that sound, gentle, harmonious voices filling the old chapel. The sound echoed off the stone walls, rising high to the ceiling. It was a very soothing sound, one that helped her feel calm and protected. Perhaps she could hear the soft rustle of their robes as they moved, or the faint chime of a small bell marking the hours. Her days in the monastery passed at a measured pace. Morning prayers, quiet breakfast, studies, work in the garden, evening services, and finally, sleep. Imagine her walking down the long, cool corridors, lit by the dim glow of candles. Outside the window, there were only stars and the silence of the night. Perhaps a distant owl's hoot. In the monastery, you might hear the crackling of the fire in the common room, or the soft rustle of pages turning, or maybe she listened to the rain falling outside, tiny drops drumming on the roof, creating its own unique, calming melody. Feel the cool air on your skin, the quietness all around you. Feel how you too are sinking into this peace. Let every sound around you become part of this tranquility. Your eyelids are becoming heavy. Your body is completely relaxed. You are listening and allowing yourself to simply be. Rest, just rest. But Judith's life, like all lives, was full of surprises. One day, at the monastery, something happened that would forever change her destiny. She was noticed by a young and brave duke named Vyacheslav. He came from Bohemia, or what we now call the Czech Republic, and he decided that Judith should become his wife. Historians tell different tales about this event. Some say Vyacheslav boldly took her from the monastery. It was a daring and courageous act. Others whisper that perhaps this marriage was already prearranged, a way for two noble families to unite. But for young Judith, it must have been incredibly stirring. Imagine the calm, quiet life in the monastery, suddenly replaced by a whirlwind of events. So Judith embarked on a journey. She left the familiar forests of Bavaria and the monastery walls to travel to a new land. Picture the long journey, the creak of the cart's wheels, the soft thud of horses' hooves on the forest paths. Perhaps she saw new trees, new flowers, new birds singing their different songs. The landscape slowly shifted, becoming unfamiliar, yet full of new wonders. Feel yourself sitting in that cart. It sways gently, lulling you. Outside the window, unfamiliar but beautiful landscapes drift by. The wind softly touches your face, bringing the sense of distant forests and fresh earth. Let the gentle rocking sensation deepen your relaxation. And then they arrived in Bohemia. This was her new homeland, her new home, Vyacheslav became her husband, and thankfully, this marriage proved to be strong and happy. Judith and Vyacheslav had 5 sons. Imagine how wonderful it must have been to have so many boys. Their names were Spithinev, Vratislav, Konrad, Jaromir, and Otakar, each one of them a new precious bundle of joy in her life. Think about how Judith, once a quiet resident of a monastery, became the mother of such a large family. Picture her rocking her babies, softly singing ancient lullabies to them, how she runs her hand through their soft hair as they sleep. The noisy castle falls silent as night descends, and only their even, peaceful breathing fills the room. Each of these boys would grow up to become very important men. Some of them would become dukes, and one of them, Vratislav, would even become the first king of Bohemia. Imagine how proudly Judith watched them as they grew, becoming strong and wise. She was their anchor, their quiet strength, their wise mother. She must have shared stories from her own childhood, lessons learned from her time in the monastery, shaping their character with gentle hands. Allow your body to become as wise and calm as Judith. Feel each part of your body relaxing, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Sink deeper. Judith's life was long, and like all of us, it held not only joys but also trials. When her husband, Duke Vyacheslav, passed away in 1055, difficult times came for Judith. Her own son Spithine, who became the next duke, strangely did not treat his mother well. Perhaps it was political intrigue, or perhaps simply a complex relationship between them. And so Judith, now a mature woman, was forced to leave Bohemia. Imagine how hard it must have been for her to leave the home where she had raised her sons, where she had spent so many years. She embarked on a journey once more, this time to Hungary. What did she feel? Likely sadness, but also an incredible strength of spirit. She carried her memories and her inner peace with her, like a quiet companion. Allow your thoughts to drift calmly, like clouds across the sky. Don't hold on to them, just observe. There is an old legend that says Judith might have married the former king of Hungary, Peter or Solo, but some wise historians have doubts about this. They think that, more likely, Judith went to live with her son Conrad, who, unlike Spithinev, always loved and respected her. Perhaps she found a new quiet corner in his castle, where she could find comfort and peace. She might have spent her days watching the sun set over unfamiliar landscapes, or listening to new bird songs. Whatever her exact path, it shows that Judith was a woman who did not give up. She sought her peace, her haven. She was surrounded by the love and support of her sons, who became rulers, thanks to her upbringing and wisdom. She was likely a wise advisor, sought out for counsel, and her voice always calm, even when passions raged around her. Imagine her quiet presence, a source of stability amidst the changes of her time. Judith of Schweinfurt, or Jutta of Schweinfurt, passed away on August 2nd. Imagine how her long life's journey came to a close. She lived a rich life, full of changes, joys and challenges. She was the daughter of a margrave, the wife of a duke, and the mother of future kings. Her body was laid to rest, and then, years later, her son Vratislav, who became king, moved her remains and buried her next to her beloved husband,
Beatislav, in the beautiful St. Vitus Cathedral, in Prague Castle. Imagine her resting peacefully there, beside the one she loved. It's a beautiful and serene conclusion to a long journey. Her story, the tale of her life, and even how she was taken from the monastery, became part of ancient chronicles and legends. Writers and musicians have been inspired by her fate for centuries, and even now, 1,000 years later, you and I are remembering her name, bringing her quiet strength into our own time. We have traveled together with Judith through the centuries, through her childhood, her youth, the joys of motherhood, and her trials. You have done well. Your body is so relaxed now, your breathing is slow and calm. Feel the warmth enveloping you, like a soft blanket. Let all the images we've seen today, all the sounds and sensations, become part of your sweet dreams. Close your eyes, if you haven't already. Allow yourself to sink into a deep, peaceful sleep. You are safe. You are calm. Sleep tight, my dear listener. You've earned this rest. Until new stories carry us into the depths of time and bring even more tranquility. Sweet dreams.